How are you all tonight? Yes, we are here. I had a blooper a minute ago, but thank you guys for coming on in. I welcome you to Redefining Life with Coach Crystal Scarborough. I am a Master Certified Life Coach. And so, my plans to do moving forward is having you come on and learn about you, about yourself. So let's see. We're telling followers that you started on live. Hang on in. We're telling more followers to join in. Okay. So I was reading what I have on Instagram going, and I'm also on um, YouTube. So please go to my YouTube page and subscribe, people. I need your help. I want to get at least, gosh, I'm really just starting out again on YouTube. So I want at least 200 subscribers. So please tell your friends, tell your neighbors, tell anybody that needs some life coaching. And we're going to talk about what that is as well. Um, but it is under, you can find me under Redefining Life Coaching, Crystal Scarborough. Redefining Life Coaching, Crystal Scarborough. So I had to chop that up like that because I did not realize there were so many Crystal Scarboroughs in this world. I just knew I was just unique, right? Nah. Thank you guys for coming on in. But again, I want to talk to you about having a relationship with yourself first. So please check out my about page on my YouTube channel. It explains to you what I'm all about. And I'm going to share some of that with you as well. But again, if this is not for you, then that's okay. But I guarantee you, you know someone who knows someone who this is for, because we oftentimes, like even in church, and y'all who go, people, it's like when the preacher's talking about a certain thing and you be like, "Ooh, child, I wish so and so was here." It's always for somebody else, but it's never for you, because you don't have the problem, right? You are the matter or the concern. You don't have any of that. That's always somebody else's issue. But I tell you, life is real tricky. It really is. It's the subconscious that makes us think consciously that we don't have the problem or the concern, and which in reality we do. And I'll explain to you why you really do. That was something I had to learn. But again, Crystal, my name is Crystal Scarborough. I am a master certified, what we call a certified professional coach. I do hold a master's in psychology with the emphasis of leadership coaching. Why I didn't go into doing the executive coaching piece is because I didn't want to. I wanted to grab a hold of that information so I can get it to the everyday people like me and you. But if the executives or the leaders of corporations or jobs or careers do happen to come on my page, that is all well and good, because what I'm going to provide to you is definitely reality. I've never been the one to sugarcoat anything, and I'm not going to start now. So if it tends to kind of crush you a little bit, just digest it. I tell people all the time when coaching, just sit in the center of what you're feeling so you can actually know what it feels like. Because we often get upset and angry when things are off balance inside of us. And, right now, you should want to know why. Why you feel the way you feel, why you act the way you act, why you talk to people the way you talk to people, kind of sideways, because I had to learn that too. Um, but I work with women, and men, guys, you can learn, take part in this too. But my focus is really on women, but you guys can definitely take hold of this. I know you have mamas, aunties, cousins, and even for personal self, this can help you as well. This, with their sense for more. because we're growing, we're changing, we're ever evolving, and we want more out of life. Now, I understand sometimes life won't allow that to happen, but there's ways around that, how to craft those things to make sure that you are empowered with what you need to do. Okay. So going back, I work with women with their sense for more, connect to their purpose, and determine what's next so they can live the life they were meant to live. So I want to ask you this question because I am a coach. We often pride ourselves into asking the right questions. So that's the difference, and that's where I wanted to go. Is there's a difference between therapy and life coaching, and the difference is the therapist usually works with the root. They go back to the root of the problem and try to work its way up toward where you want to go. Whereas life coach, we work with where you are now, right now, and then move you towards your, or work with you so you can move towards your future. And so I often tell people in my discovery calls, and I'll mention that here later, but in the discovery call, it's the question is, so, what are your goals? What are you trying to do? So we talk to you about what it is you want out of where you are now. And we actually help, build a bridge, if you will. I call it a per map, but we build a bridge for you to go over so you can actually get from where you are now to your future, no matter what it is. But typically, if there, saying but typically, if there isn't any depression or any mental health concerns of that sort, it helps your process move along because you have to have that understanding and have to be able to make a decisive decision. So that's the difference between therapists and life coaching. Because I hear a lot of therapists, and which we definitely need the therapists, but we also need life coaches as well. Because again, if there's not a mental health concern, the life coach is where you want to go, because the focus is there and your drive is there. So let's get in and not necessarily go full speed, but we can go at a speed that is quick and the systematic in the way that it'll get you where you want to go sooner rather than later, unless you pump the brakes. That makes sense? I hope so. So I have three or four, well, actually, yeah, three questions for you to think about as I move forward with this. The question number one is, why am I here? So because I look at you and your purpose, remember? So you're wanting to move yourself into a sense for more. You feel the tugging and the pulling, and you say, I know there's more out there for me, but what do I do? How do I get it? So that's the question I want you to actually work on right now, is ask yourself, why am I here? And number two, what is my purpose? Oftentimes, and I say oftentimes because I did a poll on my Facebook page, and I asked people, do they know their purpose? I didn't go into any depth, but just ask them, did they know their purpose? And so I think it was 87% of the people who answered the question said yes. And it was only 2% that said no. I got to thinking, I'm like, dude. Now I want to say this. There are people, some of those people are people I know, like personally. And for them to say, yes, they know their purpose, it kind of took me back, because I'm wondering, like, if you know your purpose, why are you still going through mentally, emotionally, and somewhat physically in the same position or spot that you were in yesterday, day before, a month ago, weeks ago, a year ago. So that tells me a lot. So I mentioned the subconscious. The subconscious makes you think that you really got it together when you really don't. Because when you're touring with something for a longer period of time, you haven't faced it. You haven't come to grips that there is something you need to do differently so you won't keep spinning your wheels over and over trying to go somewhere that you don't even know where you're going. And so number 3 is, what am I going to do with my life? So I say this, I know we have to work. I know we have to make income for ourselves and for our family, especially when we have little ones, just children, period. But there is more to you and for you to do. Being a mother is an awesome thing. Our children are gifts to us, and we cherish our gifts that is given to us. But because they are gifts to us, we have to make sure we're nurturing them in the way that will help them in their future. So I'm going to say this, and please don't get mad at me and not, look at any more of my videos or anything like that. But a lot of the mothers who are single mothers and have male child tend to cling or nurture their male child more than they do their female child. Their female child, they teach them how to clean up, do this, wash clothes, but the male child has a simple task of just taking out the trash. So how is that teaching him how to take care of himself when he's older? When he has to go out in this world to make a living, an honest living for himself, when he needs to eat, will he know how to cook, or will he be waiting on someone to cook for him? Independence is a great thing, but now hear me out. It doesn't mean that you have to be single, for the rest of your life in that way, but maybe you love to cook. There's many male chefs out here that love to cook. So don't do your children a disservice because you're in your comfort zone. So you want to keep them in that comfort zone and coddle them. And it confuses them when they get older as to what they need to do as it relates, once again, in their life and lifetime. So I want you to think about those questions because they're very important for you to move out of that comfort zone, because there's so you to do in this world, even in this pandemic. Many of people had to reinvent themselves to gain the income, to get, they went back to school, they began businesses of their own now, because to get money, income coming again, that they can take care of themselves and their family. You have gifts and talents that you can use, that was given to you, to use, so you can, again, get paid doing it. There's nothing wrong with that. Get paid doing what you love to do. So walking in your purpose can allow you and will allow you to do such a thing, being that you're not trying to, be all crazy and stuff like that. But you can do those things. So again, I'm here to help you trade your sense of purposeless to clarity and self-confidence so that you can be free to be yourself, then make an impact on the lives of others and feel good doing it. Just like Nike says, just do it. And that's what we have to get out of. So this is why I want you to know you have to have a relationship with yourself first. Many of us don't know how to do that. And I get so um, concerned, I guess that's the word, when I hear people talk about needy people, thirsty people, all these other types of people, um, because other people take advantage of individuals like that. But no one knows the struggle of feeling purposeless like someone who has lived it. And so I'm here to share with you a quick story about myself, about my life, and how I got to being on here. You know, I'm an introvert, whether you want to know it or not, meaning that I rather stay inward. Um, but I know doing what I love to do, and this is life coaching. It just, oh my God, it just gives me life. It gives me my purpose. It brings me joy. Even though the person may, on the other end of this, my clients may feel in distress or whatever, but it does my heart so good to know that I'm here for a purpose. I'm here to help my clients overcome um over being overlooked or being overwhelmed about, well, what being, in doubt, being in confusion, whatever it is. I know that's what they're feeling, but I'm here to help them, walk with them over that bridge to get them to the other side. And having being that accountability partner to them, it takes me to, and I'll talk about that in a little bit. It takes me to what I call my two-time identity. Sierra said it best: level up. It makes me level up. It makes me use my education that I paid 3 times for and over. You know what I mean? It makes me use my skills and abilities and talents that were gifted to me. It makes me want to be the best version of myself, 2 times identity that I can be, even want to be. And so, with that said, as a young adult, I would always look at other people thinking that they had it all together. And so I wondered, what it would be like to be like them. And I know y'all somewhere down the line you've experienced that too. So don't be shaking your head talking about, not me. I ain't never felt like that, girl. I always I've been secure in myself. And if you did, man, because that was not me. It really was not me. But this happened because I like the self confidence and the clarity about who I was and my capabilities. I thought I was fighting a worthless fight. I really did. I wasn't depressed, but I was confused. I needed a reality check for myself. I would ask people questions about what I could do. I asked for advice from other people, which some part of it, they gave me some good advice. Then there was a lot that wasn't. And I have to just say this, please, if you don't seek me out as your life coach or a life coach, don't ask a person about your life and what you should do, and they've been sitting on the sofa or the couch or whatever you want to call it for 20 years. So if a person is just going to work, coming home, going to work, coming home, not living life, why would you ask them advice about your life? Because what's going to happen, you're going to end up doing the same thing that they were doing. Learned behavior is, as again, that subconsciousness is that learned behavior will keep you in that comfort zone from here to eternity. Not you won't be able to experience any part of that 2 times identity that I was sharing with you. So I struggled. So years went on. I got married. I had children. Um, that's this wife. I was this wife, and that's the only thing I knew was to be a wife. I end up going to work and coming home, being a mother, coming home, being a mother, which again, like I said, wasn't a bad thing because I love my children, I love my husband, I love my family. But I didn't do anything outside of that. It it was, my children had gotten older and traveled way more than I've ever considered traveling. And so I'm saying this, there is so much life out there for you to live. And again, I know we're in COVID right now, but you can experience different countries, different sceneries uh, on YouTube, on Zoom, even getting on various Zoom calls and meeting new people and learning new languages and just all kind of stuff, right? So don't live in that comfort zone. It's so much more out there. So I even moved to a different state, and when I moved to that different state, that's really when my life began to blossom for me, if that's the word, or flourish. Um, but I moved to a different state, and I remember even went to EAP. You guys, most of you jobs has EAP, but that person had me more confused than I was when I went in there. Again, I'm not downing anybody, so don't take this wrong. Whoever's listening to this, that is a therapist. That is not what I'm saying. Every therapist is not for everybody, and you know that. So this particular one, I just couldn't do it with that one. So, however, um, I've accomplished many things, in my lifetime with my job, with my career, with my children, with my family. But when I became a life coach, because what I ended up doing was moving away from the therapist, and I remember seeing Tony Robbins. I remember seeing Ayana Van Zant. So I said to myself, okay, why not? Let me find a life coach, in which I did. And when I found that life coach, as I mentioned, my life began to change, it began to unfold even more so. That's when I said earlier, like it blossomed and it flourished because she helped me to figure some things out. I already knew what I wanted to do, but I just didn't know how to get there. I didn't know what road I needed to take in order to make that transition to what I wanted to do. As time went on in my job that I had that I really, really loved, it consumed me so much that I lost myself. And when I lost myself, I lost, to me, I lost everything because that's all I have is my character of me. And so the life coach helped me to realize, that's the word I want to use, realize certain elements for me that would move me, as I mentioned, in that right direction. And so I learned how to have a relationship with myself. Like I said, I was married for so long. I thought, like dating was the same. I thought people were the same. I was like, oh my God, this is all new to me, right? So before I started having a relationship with myself, I thought I had to have a relationship with someone else, but that wasn't for me. I needed to figure out, with the help of the life coach, I needed to figure out what was good for this woman, for Crystal, what was right for Crystal. I had to find the things that would move me forward, where I won't make a mistake of getting into relationships that didn't serve me. didn't get into relationships with narcissistic people, those controlling, demanding type of people, because I'm too strong willed for that, and that would be a clashing. I wouldn't be disrespectful, but it would be a clashing. So I didn't want to do anything to jeopardize who I was. And so having that relationship, guys, I took myself out to dinner. I took myself, of course, shopping. I took myself to a movie, was something I've never had done previously. I took myself to art shows and, looking at different ways of living, culture wise. So that was so fantastic for me that I got to see the Smithsonian Museum. I got to see um, where's it, Memphis, where Dr. Martin Luther King was assassinated. So just moving around JSU, I have to give them a shout out. Congratulations, Deion Sanders. But just, Atlanta, I was able to move around and begin to live. So that takes me to this. When we know ourselves, we then know what makes us tick. This is why it is so important that you build a relationship with yourself. The relationship you have with yourself sets the tone for all other relationships in your life. So you won't take any, we said back in the day, wooden nickels for a dime, right? We won't do that because we know who we are. We know that we refuse to settle. And so the relationship you have with yourself set the tone for all your other relationships in your life. When you commit to doing life on purpose, it changes everything around you. I mean, everything. The sky is more blue, or the clouds are whiter. Your smile. We always say, turn your face up. And I know you're like, what does that mean? Smile. Turn your face up, your lips up rather. Turn your lips up to smile. You smile more. Not that you got to be fake. Now, that's one thing I don't do. I'm not a fake woman. But you have to smile, and having that relationship with yourself will make you do that. You don't have to. When you lay down at night, there is so much peace. There is so much joy when you wake up in the morning, when you don't have to contend with things that don't serve you. Mm-mm. So when you get to this point, you begin to pursue your passion that leads you to your purpose. I want to say yes. You learn to be your true self and not worry about what other people think or saying about you. Because I say this all the time, they're going to talk about you no matter what you do. You can give them $15,000 and walk away, and they're going to talk about you. That's just what unhappy, unhealthy thinking people do. So that's called toxic. They're toxic people. And when I say there's many of them. So whoever they are in your life is different from mine, I'm sure. But you have to pull yourself away from them, uh, so you can become I would say, your authentic self, and walk in your authentic truth, your uniqueness, your brilliance, your genius. You are genius. You have a genius. That's your gifts and your abilities. Those are yours. No matter what, you take them with you wherever you go. I heard a story about this lady who wanted to draw, and She couldn't draw, but what everybody else drawing at that particular in that particular drawing class. Let's say she went to a class, but she could draw bunny rabbits. And so she realized all that other things that everybody was doing was not for her as it relates to drawing. So she began to draw the bunny rabbits and more bunny rabbits. And I was trying to think as I talked, but she has the is it the Peter Cottontail? Is it I think it is. I think she was the one that had written that particular book. Now she has illustration books of illustrations everywhere. So it's about utilizing your gift. And remember, I said you can get paid for those, but you have to know who you are in order for you to do that. And so you also get to a greater understanding of your values. So this is where we fall short, especially as humans. I'm talking to women, but this is for men too. We don't know our value. We don't know our